Okay, so hey there guys. So today's video is going to be my products that I want to use up in 2018. I cannot believe we're starting a new year again and I'm filming another one of these videos. This is one of my favorite videos to film and see if I can challenge myself throughout the year and try and I really don't use up products, and I'm going to try and film this as fast as possible. I might have to film at night later when I get home because I'm filming like so late before work. I have work in an hour and I have to eat dinner before I go to work, so I'm going to be eating around like 4:30, so I have like a half hour to film. So we're just going to jump through everything. We're just going to start off with primers. But I don't really like goal myself to use up everything. I just want to see the pan. Like, if I see the pan on something, then I know I'm going to be successful. It's just like a matter of time after that on when I'm going to actually use it up. I thought I had 3 primers in here, but I think I only have 2. I think. Yeah, I really don't goal myself to use up primers too much because they're relatively easy for me to use up, and the same thing with foundations and liquid concealers, because again, they're not too difficult for me to use up. Like, and you guys know I don't, you guys know, like that's how I said it. You guys know I don't goal myself to use up, oh my god, let's get organized, Caitlin. I don't goal myself to use up eyeliners or mascaras or, really like anything else that's like easy to use up because those things expire quickly, so you have to use them. So I don't really like mention them in the videos for these because I just mention powder products and liquid products because what's the point of goaling yourself to use those up when you know you're going to, and I always stick them in products I've used up videos anyway. So let's start off with primers. This one is no surprise. I use this up at least once a year if I purchase it because I always wait for it to go on sale. I'm not going to talk about it because you guys know, like, I love this product. So this is the Stila One Step Correctors Skin Tone Correcting and Brightening Serum. As you can see, I'm pretty much up to here already. It's a pretty easy product for me to use up. This is my 3rd one, so this is not going to be any product that it's going to be difficult for me to use up. I love this, and I use this basically probably like 3 times a week for my foundation. It's my favorite foundation for my makeup to last all day. I just love it. It's an amazing primer. So that's not going to be difficult at all for me to use up. And then the other one that I just decided to throw in here, I'm pretty much almost done with this anyway. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Face Primer. I'll probably use this up within the next month or 2. I really love this as a very moisturizing primer, especially when it is really cold outside. This really moisturizes my skin really nicely, so I really like this, and it's only $5. I really have been trying to find more drugstore primers. I think I said in my face products video, if you guys know of any that you really love, please let me know. I would love to try your suggestions. I don't know if my highlight looks a little weird. It looks a little weird from the front because it's like right up here, but it actually like ended up being really intense, and I'm like really loving how it looks on camera. I'm not insane about the formula, and I haven't hauled it yet, but I will haul it when I get my Christmas makeup from my boyfriend. So yeah, just decided to throw that one in there too. I could have sworn I brought in another primer, but it's really okay. Primers are so easy for me to use up, so it's really not going to be a challenge for me. Now let's talk about foundations. I goaled myself to use up a bunch because, again, foundations are not that hard for me to use up. The first one, I'm pretty much halfway through. You guys know I love this foundation. This is the number 7 Lift and Illuminate foundation. I did not mention this in the products I'm using up in 2017 final update because I didn't get this till about October or November, and I didn't include this in my halfway through the year update, so I'm including it now to goal myself to use it up in 2018. Last year when I filmed and I was looking at the video last year because I wanted to remind myself of what I goaled myself to use up, I mentioned 2015 so much when it was 2016. And I kept on saying last year, 2015. I'm like, it's not 2015, Caitlin. It was 2016, and you're talking about your products you want to use up in 2017. So Yeah, so anyway, I love this foundation, and as you can see, this probably won't be any difficult challenge for me to use this up. My sister actually just tried out this foundation when she was staying here for a couple days, and she said that she absolutely loved it. I'm like, please try it. It's so good. You probably will fall in love with it because she hates wearing foundation. She hates wearing like basically any makeup except for like concealer, mascara, and like filling in her brows, but she hates wearing face makeup. So I was like, try this. And she was like, I love this. It feels so weightless on the skin. I'm like, I know. It's like my favorite foundation I've tried. Um, so this shouldn't be anything difficult for me to use up either. Then the next one, I'm pretty much done with this, but I will probably be working on my second tube of it, but I just wanted to mention it really quick, is the Maybelline Fit Me Dewy and Smooth Foundation. This one's in the shade 110 Porcelain. I'm in the shade Cool Vanilla in the number 7. And this one, I'm pretty much down to here, so it really shouldn't be any difficulty for me to use up. The same thing with the Tarte foundation. I think I'm pretty much done with that one. I didn't decide to include it because I literally have like this much left in the bottle. And this one I pretty much am down to here, but I'll be working on a second bottle of this throughout the year, but I just wanted to say I'm almost done with that one, so that one shouldn't be any problem for me to use up because that's my other favorite drugstore foundation besides the number 7. I love it. But I also wanted to mention another foundation from the drugstore, which I could have sworn I brought in here. Why am I losing everything on my freaking table? I thought I brought in another L'Oreal foundation. Let me just go through the rest of the foundations really quick. So the rest of them are all high-end foundations, but I want to get my money's worth out of them. This one is no surprise, and I use this up foundation all the time. Use up this foundation all the time. This is my 4th bottle of it. This is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation in the color 2. Oh, it's right here in front of me. It's literally sitting in front of me, the other foundation I was going to talk about. Let me just talk about that really quick to wrap up the drugstore foundations. This is the L'Oreal Paris Infallible Pro Glow foundation, and I'm in the shade 201 Classic Ivory. I feel like I've made a pretty substantial dent in it. It doesn't feel like there's too much product in here. I mean, there's still a lot of product in there, but I think like it feels like there's about I'm about halfway through it. This is also one of my favorite foundations. I kind of forgot to mention it in my 2017 beauty favorites because I did try it out around the same time as the Maybelline Fit Me because I bought them both together. So I literally tried like one after the other, and I really loved this. So I'm going to try and use it up this year. I'm not wearing it today. I'm going to wear it this weekend, though, because I haven't worn it in quite a while because I've been so obsessed with the Lancome foundation and the number 7 foundation, and I went back to wearing the Maybelline Fit Me, and today I'm wearing the Makeup Forever Ultra HD stick because I'm still testing that out, so... but I'm definitely going to try and use this up this year. I don't think this one's going to be too difficult either because it's in a tube. So really foundations and concealers are really not that much of a challenge for me because it is so much easier to use up liquid products than it is to use up powder products. So yeah, the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation, I love this. It's really like down to like here basically. There's not too much left in here, but I go through this foundation so quickly. I might not repurchase it though right away just because I have the Dior foundation and the Lancome one that I just got as newer high-end foundations that I might not repurchase this. I'm also at the tail end of my Too Faced Born This Way foundation. I would have included that in this video, but it's not going to be too hard for me to use that up either. But I always use this up, so I just wanted to mention it that I'm probably going to use this up very quickly within like February or March. So just wanted to mention that. It's still one of my favorite foundations. I just don't want to run out and repurchase it right away. I might not repurchase it until the Vibe sale where I can get 20% off, or I might just ask my mom to get it for me from Bloomingdale's whenever I do run out because she gets it for me for like $40 rather than $60. So we'll see though. I'm not really sure because I have like enough foundations right now that I don't need to add this right away, but it's still one of my favorite foundations. Okay. The next one is probably something that won't be too hard for me to use up either. I was using this so much throughout the year. I think my boyfriend just finally texted me. No, he didn't. He hasn't texted me all day. I don't know why. I think he's sleeping in today because he starts school on Monday, so he's probably just going to sleep in until like Monday, I guess. I mean, I won't see him till tomorrow. I have work tonight. So anyway, this is the Dior Skin Forever. I keep on going off on tangents when I just need to get through this video. Dior Skin Forever Perfect Makeup Everlasting Wear Pore Refining Effect with Sunscreen. This is in the shade 014. I believe it's in the shade Porcelain or Ivory. It's whatever their lightest shade is. I say that every time I explain this foundation. I love this foundation. It's so nice. It's such a nice full coverage. I think I'm going to wear it tomorrow out. I haven't worn it in a while because I've just been obsessed with the Lancome one. I swear, you guys, like these two have been the only two foundations I've been wearing. Is the Stick foundation and the Lancome and the number 7 foundation, but I haven't worn this in a while, so I need to wear it again. So I love it, and I think I can tell from the tube that it's probably like down to here as what I can see. I mean, it's pretty hard to tell with a frosted glass tube, bottle I mean, but this shouldn't be too hard for me to use up either. This is one of my favorite foundations to use for full coverage. This is kind of like one of my go-tos, like when I go to the city and stuff. I actually probably like this even more than like the Urban Decay All Nighter now when I go to the city, just because it's more comfortable on the skin. But I will definitely wear it soon and update you guys on if I love it more than the Lancome one. Because I feel like, speaking of the Lancome one, let's just talk about it. This is the Lancome Teint Idol Ultra 24-Hour Makeup, and this one's in the shade 210 Buff. And I'm not going to read the full names of everything. You guys, like, know what it's called by me just reading this here. I don't know why I always read the full name. You guys know I'm absolutely obsessed with this foundation. It's so weightless, feels so beautiful on the skin. But I do feel like the formulas are very similar with these two. They give you a really beautiful matte finish, but they're so comfortable on the skin. So I really want to compare the two and update you guys on which one I like more. I still love both of them, and probably I just need to wear this again to remind myself on why I love it, because I've just been wearing this one so often and I know that I love this one. So we might do like a battle of the foundations with these two and compare the two, about the pros and cons of each of them. I probably need to write down my thoughts on them throughout the day and let you guys know which one is better. So I need to do that. But I'm going to go myself to use up this one as well this year. I don't think that's going to be too difficult because I wear this so much. So I think I might go through at least half of it this year. I feel like there's already like less product in here. It just looks like that I can see a couple of holes, but yeah, obviously not less than this one, but I love both of these. So enough about those. And then one more foundation, which I don't think is going to be too difficult. I'm going to include this, but if I don't love this by like the end of this month or something, by the time I try it a little bit more, I might return it, just because I'm not the hugest fan of stick foundations. Like, I really love how it looks right now, but I feel like in order for it to look perfect, I need to add concealer to it, and I feel like that this foundation should just be a quick foundation for me to use, that I shouldn't have to feel the need to always wear concealer. I mean, I always wear concealer with foundation anyway, but it annoys me when I have to correct imperfections of a foundation with concealer, because I'm just like, oh, it's not the best foundation for me. Like, I don't find that with the Giorgio Armani, the number 7, or any of the other foundations I mentioned, really, except for this one. So this is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Invisible Cover Stick Foundation, and this one's in the shade Y225. It has like a little cap, and then it just rolls up. I've been testing it out. I think this is about, I think, the 3rd or 4th time that I've worn it. So I wanted to wear it today to see what I think, and it is really beautiful when you finish your makeup. I really like how it looks, but I do notice like throughout the day that it starts like kind of separating a little bit on my forehead. I'm going to see how it wears tonight and let you guys know at some point, probably in my January favorites or something. But I don't love buffing foundation with a brush. You guys know that. I always use a sponge. I just find that it looks better on the skin for me. I just don't feel like a brush looks better. I just like how a sponge looks more. And when I was trying to buff this in with a brush, I didn't really love it on my skin, so I just used a Beauty, My Real Technique sponge. Maybe I'll try it with a brush next time. I think I have to use my EcoTools one, but we'll see how it goes. Most people use this with a brush, so I probably need to start getting on the brush train and use a brush with this because it's so matte, because it's stick foundation. So we'll see, but I do want to go myself to use it up because there's not like that much product in here, because stick foundations always have less product. So that's it for foundations. Now let's just move on to concealers. Are these the only concealers I brought in here? I feel like I brought more. Why am I like losing everything as I'm talking about it? Like, oh, it's right in front of me. Oh my gosh. I'm retarded. Okay, so anyway, the first concealer, which is going to be no trouble for me at all because I'm pretty much done with this. This is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Aqua Sealer in the color Fair Light. I told you guys that this was my all-time favorite concealer this year. This is one of my all-time favorite concealers ever. Favorite concealers ever. It is just so good, so hydrating, so beautiful, and I'm pretty much down to here. So that's going to be no trouble at all for me to use up. I love it. And then I wanted to include the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. This one's in the shade Fair. I do like this concealer. I don't love it. I don't really understand the hype with it. It's really good. It is super full coverage, but for me, I actually prefer the Urban Decay All Nighter Concealer. I've been trying that out. I haven't hauled it yet because it's going to be included in my next haul, but I've been trying it out and I really love it. I've also been trying the new ColourPop Concealer. I love that one as well. Just this one is just okay to me. It's not my like favorite concealer of all time. I prefer these ones from the drugstore over this one. This is still a good concealer, but I probably will never repurchase it. So I'm in the shade Fair, and I am working on using this up. I was working on using it up throughout the year, so I probably will use it up this year. It probably won't be any trouble for me. I haven't used it in quite a while, though, because over the break, I haven't been really wearing that many full coverage looks. I only wore full coverage looks when I was in Connecticut for John Oliver and for New Year's, and then just like yesterday when I went to happy hour, and probably tomorrow because I'm supposed to go out tomorrow with my best friend and my boyfriend, so maybe we'll wear this tomorrow, but it hasn't really been my go-to. It's been more of the Urban Decay one because I've been testing that out because it's a new concealer, so... And then the other three, which should not be a challenge at all for me, is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Dark Circle Eraser. As you guys can see, I'm pretty well into this concealer. I love this concealer. I raved about it in my top 5 favorite drugstore concealers as my all-time favorite. I just love it. This is my second one already, so this is going to be no trouble at all for me to use up. And then, of course, the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer in the color Fair. I've been through 3 of these already. Don't even really have to talk about this concealer. I bring this concealer like everywhere with me. It's my favorite concealer just to grab on the go because it's just easy to use. And that's pretty much its main purpose, is for me to use it during touch-ups. But as you guys can see, I'm pretty much almost all the way through it. This was one of the only like drugstore concealers I would purchase until I found other ones. So I probably will repurchase it. But I do like the Instant Age Rewind Concealer a little bit more, but this one's still great, but this should be no trouble at all for me to use up either. It's basically almost done. And then the last one is the Catrice Cosmetics Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer. I'm doing really well on this one anyway. I'm actually wearing it today, and this one is in the shade, I'm sorry, I have like an itch. This one's in the shade Porcelain. I love this concealer. It's so beautiful under the eyes. It's just a really beautiful concealer. It just blends out so beautifully and has a really beautiful coverage. I prefer it over the Tarte Shape Tape. It has great coverage, and it just very creamy, very matte, and it just stays really nicely, and it blends out really creamily and everything. So I love this concealer, and this shouldn't be any trouble for me to use up. I use it a ton. It's not showing the halfway mark anymore because I used it today, but in my last video it was like here basically. So again, I love this. It's just annoying that you have to only order this online because like I'm hoping that I might like want to find more drugstore stuff online at some point for Ulta because that's the only place you can get it, but this is only $4 and I don't want to pay $5 shipping for a $4 concealer because Ulta only gives free shipping over $50. So yeah, but we'll see. If they start carrying it in stores, that would be awesome. Okay, just 2 powders. Because again, powders are not really too difficult for me to hit pan on. I'm not going to include my IT Cosmetics powder because that one kind of got destroyed when I brought it to Connecticut. I should have brought a different powder with me. I don't know why I didn't. I should have just brought the NYX powder with me or something because that one was already splitting in the pan because I had used it so much that like I was hitting pan on it already, and you guys know that, and I showed it in my products I used up in 2017. I tried to repress it and it didn't really go very well, so but I probably will use it up, but there's no point in me including it because there's not really that much product in there. And I didn't decide to include any of the drugstore powders because I probably will hit pan on them on some point. But I want to work on finishing up both of these powders first. So the first one is the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Powder Foundation in the color 2. You guys know I freaking love this powder. And I did show you guys my progress in the last video that I posted. And that's how much I've used of it. You guys can tell I freaking love this powder. Like I said before, I tried to gravitate towards not using it because I don't want to use it up because it's so expensive. But when I start using it, like I said, I can't stop because it's my favorite powder. So, if you guys know a cheaper drugstore alternative, please let me know. I think that the Maybelline one is pretty close to it. I do love the Maybelline Fit Me powder, so I might use that one over this. But I just love how this powder makes me feel on my skin. It just feels so good, but I probably will use it up this year. I probably won't be able to stop myself from using it up, so that shouldn't be a big deal. And then, of course, the one that I'm still working on, but I'm probably going to get rid of this in like a couple of months. This is the MAC Merle Skin Finish Natural in the shade Medium. I did show you guys my progress already. This is how much I've used of it, so I probably will just work on using up this part of it. But look how flat it is. Like, this used to be a baked product, so there used to be a shit ton of product in here, but this was like my only powder I would use for a long time. Like, I wouldn't even use the Laura Mercier or the NARS one. I'm like getting out of breath, you guys. Let's just breathe a little bit. So, but this was like my go-to over like a loose powder when I first got it, and it's such a great powder. I love it so much, but I don't know if it might be time to give it up soon because I've had it for so long. I mean, it still performs really nicely, so I'm going to try and use it up this year. So, I'm hoping to like work on this part of it, so that shouldn't be too hard. But this lasts forever. This is so hard to use up, you guys, because this is so good, and it just lasts forever. So that is it for base products. Now let's move on to eyeshadows. So I'm going to continue to work on my single shadows that I updated you guys on in my other video. These are my Makeup Geek single shadows. I'm not going to really go myself like reaching over the moon to use up a lot of eyeshadows. I'm just going to try and use up what's practical and what I know I probably would be able to use up. My brother home? Yeah, my brother's home. I thought it was I was waiting for a ColourPop order today, and ColourPop usually always comes through USPS, but it didn't come in the mail, and it said it was supposed to be delivered today, and I wanted to try out the products that I was getting. I got like 3 eyeshadows and like a highlighter and replacement eyeliners that I needed, and I wasn't able to use any of them today, but I did use like basically the other products that I would use if I didn't get them because I wanted to use these products today, so I was just annoyed. So these are the 6 eyeshadows that I will continue to work on. I might not go myself to use up really anything else, but I'll just go through them really, really quickly. So we have Makeup Geek's Vanilla Bean, which this is how much of the pan that I've hit on. Shouldn't be any trouble for me to really use this up. This is like my go-to brow bone highlight. I love it. I'm not really going to talk about them too much because I've talked about them in like every single one of these videos. The next one is Makeup Geek's Peach Smoothie. This is like my favorite transition shade when I do warm toned eyeshadow looks, so I love that and shouldn't be any trouble for me to really hit more of the pan on that one. Then the next one, which I haven't had for a while, but I will include it because this shouldn't be any trouble for me to hit pan on this either. This is Makeup Geek's Peaches and Cream. In my online makeup haul in like the middle of last year, I added this to my collection again because I was using it out of the Manny MUA Makeup Geek palette, so I decided to repurchase it, and I have a pretty substantial dip in it already, so that shouldn't be any trouble for me to hit pan on it. I'm wearing it as my transition shade today. I love it. It is so hard to say transition shade, like so often. Okay, then the biggest challenge I'm going to give for myself this year is that I really, well, I can't pick this up right now. I really want to use up Makeup Geek's Creme Brulee this year. I'm going to use the crap out of this year, hopefully. This is just my favorite crease shade, and I have hit so much more of the pan of it since last year, so this shouldn't be too difficult for me to use up this year. But I saw on like another channel that people say that like once you hit the pan, sometimes it's harder to use up the actual product. Like, it's just always like a matter of time, like I said in the beginning of the video. But I don't think it should be too hard for me to use it up this year. I've been working on this for like almost 2 years now. So, okay, I will include 2 other eyeshadows, but I just wanted to talk about the other 3 that I've hit pan on. So this one is Makeup Geek's Shimma Shimma. I swear to God, you guys, this eyeshadow lasts forever. And I went back and rewatched my older video, and I was like, this shouldn't be any trouble for me to hit pan on this year. I did not hit pan on this eyeshadow until like last month. Like, really like into like November or December of last year is when I finally hit pan on this eyeshadow. This eyeshadow and this eyeshadow, Makeup Geek's Rapunzel, I hit pan on this one faster. I'm actually wearing both of them on my inner corners today just because I wanted to wear them. So this is what this one looks like, and as you guys can see, I've hit a lot more of the pan on this one than Shimma Shimma, and they're just the most beautifully formulated Makeup Geek eyeshadows. They're like my favorite shimmer shadows from Makeup Geek. They're just so buttery, and they're so damn pigmented that they take forever to hit pan on. So, but I definitely hit more of the pan of Rapunzel, and I'm going to continue to work on that one as well, and Shimma Shimma. And then the last one is Makeup Geek's Cupcake, which I just recently hit pan on. This is just my favorite go-to pink shade. I wear this so much when I wear blushy toned eyeshadow looks, so that one is Makeup Geek's Cupcake, and I was really proud of myself when I hit pan on that one. So the only other 2 I'm going to include, because I know if I reach too much, I will not hit pan on any of them. I'm going to include Makeup Geek's Frappe, which I'm pretty sure I included in 2017. So I'm going to continue to work on that one. That one I have a pretty substantial dent in there. So that one shouldn't be too hard for me to hit pan on. So I'm hoping to hit pan on that by like June or July, hopefully. And then the other one is Makeup Geek's Latte. So that one shouldn't be too difficult either. I use Frappe more than I use Latte because Frappe is warmer tone and this one's cooler tone. And you guys know I love my warmer toned eyeshadows. But this one shouldn't be too hard, I'm hoping. Or I should have a dip like I do in Frappe by the time I hit pan on Frappe. I think that's what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to include any other eyeshadows in here because I don't use them as often as I do for my eyeshadows. Maybe I'll include Makeup Geek's Mirage, actually, because I do use this one a lot. But this one lasts a really long time. Like, I use this one just as much as Vanilla Bean, and I really haven't made that much of a dent in it at all. Like, this shadow lasts a long time. I don't know why, but I used this a lot this year, and I did not hit pan on it. I got it around the same time as Cupcake, I think. I don't know. No, as Petal Pusher, but this lasts a really long time. But I will include that one. We'll see if I can hit pan on that one. But that's it for my Makeup Geek shadows. And then for my ColourPop ones, I'm just going to include probably 2 or 3. I'm just going to, for my pressed powder one, so I'm just going to continue, this is what it looks like right now. I'm just going to continue to use ColourPop's Firefly, which you guys can see I've hit a lot of the pan on. This is also one of my favorite transition shades, and that's what it looks like right there. I use this so much just as a base transition shade for so many different looks. So again, this really shouldn't be too hard for me to hit pan on. To probably use up. I probably will use up this eyeshadow, so that one shouldn't be too hard. And I think I'm just going to include 2 crease shades. The first one is, oh my god, my hands cannot lift anything. Like, my hands are so shaky right now. So this one is ColourPop's Wake Up Call, and I'm going to try and hit a substantial dent in it. These are like my other go-to favorite eyeshadows besides the Makeup Geek ones, so, because you guys know how much I fell in love with them this year. I'm just checking my highlight. And this one's a really beautiful, cool-toned crease shade, so I do use that one a lot as well. And then the other one is ColourPop's Note to Self, and this one's more of a medium toned brown shade. I love this one as well. They do have pretty substantial dips in them. I think this one has a little bit more use out of it, but I'm going to try and hit pan on both of those. I'm not sure about the shimmery shades. I might not reach too much for those. So we're just going to keep it at those three for now. If I do use more of the other eyeshadows, like maybe Let Me Explain, which is this one right here, and this one is Take It Slow. They're both so gorgeous, but I'm nowhere near hitting the pan yet, but I do use those a lot on my inner corners as well. They're so beautiful. The ColourPop shimmer shadows are so blinding. I love them. Okay, and then I'm just going to include one eyeshadow from each of these palettes. I'm not going to go myself to use up a palette this year. Actually, I kind of forgot to grab a eyeshadow palette, but I'm going to wrap it up with eyeshadows, and then I'm going to have to go eat something because I'm not going to be able to film all of this by the time I go to work. So I'm just going to continue to work on my Tarte Tartelette in Bloom palette eyeshadow, which is this one right here. This one's in the shade Flower Child. I do, again, have a really big dip in that. Oh my god, I'm forgetting the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette too. I'm just going to run through these three eyeshadow palettes really quickly, and then we'll finish up eyeshadows later because I still have ColourPop eyeshadows to talk about. So this one is Flower Child. So as you guys can see, I hit a pretty substantial dent in this one, and I'm hoping to hit pan on that one this year. I do use this one all the time as a transition shade when I use this palette, but every time I use this palette, I'm not too crazy about it anymore. I don't know how to feel about it, so we'll see. I think I'm actually going to wrap it up now because I really don't have time to film anymore, so I have to go eat something, but I will try and finish up this video later. Bye! Alright guys, so now we're going to continue on with the products that I want to use up in 2018, or at least hit pan on. So we're going to continue with some eyeshadow. So I have quite a few like palettes to concentrate on just certain eyeshadows, and I don't think for me I'm ever really going to ever pan a palette entirely because I'm just not that type of person. I need variety every single day. I will get bored if I only can use like one palette a week or something. So I just don't go myself to use up certain shades, to use up certain palettes. I just want to go myself to use up certain shades in palettes. I think that would be a lot more practical for me because over the past 2 years when I had goaled myself to use up a palette, it didn't really happen. Like, I have not hit pan on any eyeshadows in palettes yet, and I think this year I will be able to if I concentrate just using certain shadows rather than the whole palette. So the first palette is the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. I know a lot of people have probably hit pan on certain eyeshadows in this palette by now, but I haven't. But I love this palette. This is one of my favorite palettes of all time. I love it so much. And I'm going to concentrate on using the two shimmer shades this year because I think those two shades are the ones that I have the biggest dips in. So I'm going to try and hit pan on them. If I don't, it's not a huge deal, but this palette's not going anywhere. I love it so much. So the shades are Vermeer and Primavera. Those are the only two shimmery shades. They're really beautiful, and I wear them basically every time I wear this palette. I don't really wear them on the lid anymore, though. When I use this palette, I use them more on the inner corners because I like mixing other single eyeshadows or different eyeshadows with this palette because there's not that many lid options in here. But I'm going to try and hit pan on both of those. Maybe I'll use them more on the lid if I'm trying to goal myself to use them up. So those two I'm going to try to hit pan on as well. And I'm going to continue to work on the Tartelette in Bloom palette shade as well. Then the next palette is the Manny MUA Makeup Geek palette. And I want to try and hit pan on the shade Luna in here, which is this shade right here. I mostly use this shadow when I use this palette, and that's like my favorite shade to use on the lid every time I use this palette. This palette is really beautiful. I mean, since I already got Beaches and Cream down, and most of these shades in here are shades that I already own. I mean, at least 3 of them are shades I already own in here, which are Frappe and Cosmopolitan. And the reason why that I haven't used up Frappe entirely is because Frappe in here is a little bit more cooler toned. It's not as warmer toned as the individual one. This one's a tad bit cooler tone. It's kind of like frappe and latte mixed together. So I kind of prefer using this one sometimes when I use this palette, and then I don't have to go and grab frappe from my individual palette. I can just use it in here and then I'm good to go. And I'm going to try and hit pan on Luna. I do have a pretty substantial dent in it. So I'm going to try and just work on that one this year. This is a really gorgeous shade. This is one of my all-time favorite Makeup Geek foiled shadows. But since I haven't still hit pan on any Makeup Geek foiled shadows, I'm just going to go myself to try and hit pan on this one. I'm going to continue to work on the ones that I still have, but I'm not going to go myself to use up any of them or hit pan on any of them until I see some real progress in like June or July, and then I will maybe add some of those in halfway through the year. But this one is the only one I'm going to add in for now because I just don't want to go myself to use up too much. I just really want to concentrate on these certain eyeshadows in palettes. Okay, and then the next one is a new addition to my collection, but I think I am going to hit pan on at least one of these shades this year, hopefully, because this is one of my favorite palettes that I've been using, and I can't stop using this. I use this like twice a week. This is the ColourPop Dream Street and Kathleen Lights collaboration eyeshadow palette. I haven't hauled this palette yet, but I really wanted to include it in this video because this has been like my go-to palette lately. When I first saw this palette, I thought that the shade combinations were weird, and now like some of these colorful shades are like essentials for me to use, and I have used all of the shades in this palette. I think they're all so gorgeous, and I really can't wait to use this palette every single time I want to use it. Like, I can't wait to use it again, and that's how I know that this palette is one of my favorites so far. That I've gotten that's a new palette, and I think it's just beautiful. So I'm going to try and maybe hit pan on one of these two shades in here. This one is Shooting Star, and this one is Magical, and I use these two shades every single time I reach for this palette, because I usually use this shade on my crease as my transition shade, and then I use this shade as my crease shade. So I think I'm going to try and hit pan on one of those. I think because these pans are a lot smaller, it might be a little bit easier for me to use, at least like make a big dent in some of these, or maybe there's just a lot of product pressed down in here and I just don't know. Knock on wood though, because I probably won't, but we're going to try. We're going to try. But this is like the one palette that I'm going to try and hit pan on certain shades, but I'm going to try. I think those are the two shades that I'm going to go myself to try and hit pan on in this palette. But it's gorgeous. I love it so much, but I will definitely talk about it more in my haul. Hopefully my haul will go up by the end of January because I'm still waiting for my boyfriend to get more money, and then we'll be able to buy each other's Christmas presents. Okay, and then the next palette is the Dose of Colors Baked Browns palette, and I'm actually wearing all the shades from this palette today. This is one of my favorite palettes, you guys. I'm pretty sure I'm like trying to remember if I used the brow bone highlight in here, but I did. I haven't had this palette too long, probably about 6 months now, but I've made a really substantial dent in the middle shade here. This shade is called Outdoorsy, so I'm going to concentrate on trying to hit pan on this shade right here. But as you can see, that one I have like the biggest progress in. I don't know how, but it looks like I have a pretty big dent in like this part right here. But I use this palette a lot. It's such good quality. This was in my 2017 favorites. The mattes are gorgeous, so I'm wearing all of the mattes today in my crease, and then I'm wearing a single shadow from ColourPop, which I'm about to talk about. When I film these videos, I like wearing most of the products that I'm going to try and concentrate on using, so I wanted to use this palette today. But I used all of the shades in here, and it's really not hard for me to use all of the shades. When I use this palette, like I use this shade in my crease, and I darken the crease more with this one. And then I use these two on the outer corners, and then I pop this one on my brow bone, and then I used this one on my lower lash line. So if I use this as like a defining shade and a lower lash line shade, I might like make more progress in it because I love it on the lower lash line. So yeah, I love this, and I'm going to see if I can try and hit pan on that one. That would be awesome. And then there's just one more eyeshadow because I'm trying to like concentrate on the eyeshadows that I use the most out of palettes. And I think that's a better goal for me. I was going to include Too Faced Luscious, but I don't find myself reaching that much for the peach palette until like the summertime, and that's like one of my go-to summertime palettes, but I'm just going to continue to work on that shade. And then the last palette is the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye palette. I'm going to try and use this palette some more. I don't get to use it too often anymore, but I want to concentrate on using, or at least hitting pan on this shade right here. This is the one, this one is called, let's see, it's the fourth shade in 4, 5, 6. I think this one's called Liberatus or Celios. I'm not sure which way these actually go. I think this one's called Liberatus. I think it's left to right. So that's that really matte white shade. It's so beautiful. This one I usually use all over my eye when I use this palette, and I'm going to try and use this palette a lot more. I'll probably use this more to wear more of my single shadows, and I'll wear this all in the crease and stuff, so I will try and use it more that way. So that is the only shade that I'm going to try and use in there. And then we just have a couple of ColourPop shades, but it's really not hard for me to hit pan on ColourPop shadows. So the first one is the ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Koosh. I'm actually wearing this on my lid today. So I love this shade, and I think it won't be too hard for me to hit pan on it. It's just so, this is so gorgeous. Like, this is one of my all-time favorite ColourPop shadows, or it's quickly become one of my all-time favorites. It's just so gorgeous. Look how pretty that is. I love it. And I'm actually glad that I wore it today because it went so well with the sweater that I'm wearing. Because I wanted to try out the new products that I was supposed to get in my ColourPop order, but it didn't come today, so it'll probably come tomorrow. And I was like doing my makeup and like waiting for it to come, and I was going to do my lid shade when it came, obviously, and it never came, so yeah, it's probably going to come tomorrow. And then the next one I'm going to try and work on more is the ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Moonshine. I had pan on this a while ago, so I don't think it's going to be too hard for me to use it a lot more. This is one of my newer shades as well. And then the last one is the ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Cricket. And I want to use this tomorrow, actually, as my lid shade. Because I want to use my Kat Von D Metal Matte Palette yet again. I use it so much, you guys. So I wanted to use this one on the lid because I think I'm going to wear a dress tomorrow, depending on how my plans go tomorrow. I'm supposed to see my best friend with my boyfriend, but I haven't heard from my best friend since like 1 o'clock today. So, and she was supposed to call me today and she never did. But this one didn't take me that long to hit pan on either, so I'm going to try and make more progress in that. And that is it for eyeshadows. I know that was a lot, but I think it is a better goal for me to try and concentrate on all of those than trying to just concentrate on a single palette, because I know that's never going to happen. So now we're going to move on to face products, like powder products, and we're going to move on to bronzers. So obviously the first one that I'm going to continue to work on, that I've still been working on, is the Marc Jacobs Instamark Dreamer Filter. You guys know I use this all the time. So this shouldn't be too hard for me to completely use this side up. That's going to be my goal this year. I use this so much, and this is like my go-to bronzer. I was going to use it today, but I decided to use the Wet n Wild contouring powders today because I really wanted to use those because I really don't use those that often. But this one's just my go-to shade for bronzing, and as you guys can see, I have a pretty substantial dent in that side, and I'm going to try and also hit pan on this side. I'm going to definitely use this more. I'm not the type of person that uses this under my eyes. I mostly just use like powders that come in like contouring kind of palettes just to clean up my contour underneath, and that's all I really use it for. So I'm going to try and use it a lot more for that, because sometimes I'm just so lazy that I don't even do that. I just throw on the bronzer and that's it. I don't even clean it up. So I will probably most likely use this up this year. This probably won't be too hard for me at all. I mean, I use it like so much. Okay, then the next one is the NARS Stephen Klein palette, and I'm going to concentrate on using up NARS's Laguna, or at least hitting pan on it. I love this year, and as you guys can see, I have a pretty substantial dent in the center of it, and I don't think it's going to be too hard for me to hit pan on it. I think I goaled myself to try and hit pan on it last year, but I really didn't start utilizing it a lot more until like the past like 6 months of last year. And this is like my go-to bronzer besides the other one I'm going to talk about and the Marc Jacobs one. So I don't think it's going to be too hard for me to hit pan on that one. And then the last one is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. Basically, I talked about all three of these as being my Best in Beauty bronzers in my Best in Beauty video, so I'm just going to include them in products I want to use up or hit pan on. So again, I don't think this is going to be too hard for me to hit pan on. I use this at least 3 or 4 times a week. I love this for a natural bronze. It is just so natural and gives your face just like a natural glow and bronzy glow on the skin. So that's what I'm going to use it for, and that's what I'm going to continue to use it for. But I saw on Andrea Mattiliano's channel that she said it takes a long time to use up, but at least if I hit pan on it, I'll be happy. So that's it for bronzers. Now let's move on to blushes. I know I goal myself to try and use the same blushes, or at least trying to hit pan on the same blushes every year, but I'm going to include the same blushes again because I'm going to continue to work on them. So these are nothing new. The first one is the NARS blush in the shade Madly. You guys know I've been using or trying to hit pan on this for such a long time. Blushes are literally the hardest thing for me to hit pan on. I have hit pan on at least every other kind of product in my collection except for blushes. Blushes are so hard to hit pan, but then you realize like they're so worth the money because you never run out of them. Like they take forever to use up. So this is Madly. This is my favorite go-to shade. I mean, I can feel that I have like a substantial dent in the middle, but there is no way I'm going to hit pan on this anytime soon. But I use this blush so often, at least once every week, at least. But I probably definitely have to use it more if I want to try and hit pan on it. So that one is this one right here. I love it. It's one of my go-to favorite blushes. I use it always when I don't know what blush to use. I'm always reaching for this. Okay, the next one is the Becca Mineral Blush in the shade Wild Honey. This is my favorite blush for the fall time, so I don't use it year-round, but it's one of my favorite blush formulas. I love Becca blushes, and I have probably included this twice as well. It's definitely very similar to Madly. It's just a little bit more orange tone, and it's that one right there, so I'm going to continue to work on this one as well. And then the last one is the MAC Blush Mineralized Skin Finish Blush in the shade Warm Soul. I think that this one's probably the one that I've made the most progress on, which is crazy if I can open it. That was really hard to open. Because I can notice that it's not really like that baked anymore. When I first got it, I'm pretty sure it was a lot more out. So now I guess I just have to work on this part. I don't know how long it's going to take me to do that. But this is one of my favorite blushes of all time too. These are literally my 3 favorite blushes. If I decluttered all my blushes and just kept these 3, I would be good. So this one is Warm Soul up here. It's a very luminous blush. Very glittery, but it doesn't come off on the face glittery at all. It's just so pretty. So that one is that one right there. I just really love nude blushes or like Wild Honey. Those are like the colors that I go for. I love nude blushes. I'm wearing Clinique's Nude Pop today. I haven't worn it in forever and I really love it. So, but this is one of my go-to blushes as well. I love it. Okay, and then just 2 highlighters that I'm going to continue to work on. So you guys know I have hit pan on both of these. These are the Becca Shimmery Skin Perfector Pressed. The first one is the shade Champagne Pop. I actually just repressed this. Thank you to Kristen Olsen. It's kind of like having a little bit of specks in there, but it's mostly in the pan again. So thank you to Kristen Olsen and Fantasia123, Fantasia Bliss 123, I'm pretty sure that's her name. They both suggested for me to repress some powders that I had broken, and I had mentioned this in the video, and also IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores Pressed Powder, like I said before, but that one I think is beyond saving. But I had hit pan originally on this, and then it kind of started falling apart. I'm not sure how much I'm going to use this. I haven't used it since I've repressed it, like not like for a while. It swatches pretty well. You're probably not going to be able to see anything though. but I haven't really tried it on my face yet, so I will let you guys know. But it looks gorgeous to watch. I mean, it's my all-time favorite highlighter. I love it. So we'll see how that goes. It might take me even longer to hit pan now because there's so much product in here still, so we'll see. But I'm so happy that it worked out to repress it because I'm definitely going to use it now. And I probably won't use the one in my face palette now as much because I was using that one so much more because that one wasn't really working out since it was so crumbly. And then the other one, of course, is the shade Opal. And this one I've already hit pan on, and this one is a lot more well intact than Champagne Pop. I'm not going to go myself to try and hit pan on any other highlighter. I'm not wearing either of them today. I'm wearing the Cover FX highlighting palette, which I also haven't hauled either, but I wanted to pull it out and wear it today because I haven't worn it in a little while. But this is Opal, so I'm going to try and just hit more pan on the center of it, which shouldn't be too hard for me. I love this highlighter. It's so beautiful and intense. But these are the only two highlighters I've ever hit pan on, so I'm just going to try and work on them some more. They're so beautiful and intense. That one is Opal right here, so that shouldn't be too hard for me. And then the last face powder product is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in the shade Ethereal Light. I did just mention in the products I want to use up in 2017 that I had hit pan on it. And as you can see, I'm just making more and more progress. So as you guys know, I use this every single day to set my makeup. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be too hard for me to use this up. I think this is going to be the first one that I ever use up entirely because the last one I didn't use up, but I felt like it was expired. I don't know what's going on with that, but they do expire obviously, so but I still use this every single day, so I'm going to try and just use it up completely, which I don't think will be too hard. And then the last products are just a couple of lip products. I'm going to stick with the same lip products, you guys. I actually just decluttered a bunch of lipsticks, so I'm hoping to wear these more often, but I want to include the same lipsticks, you guys. So the first ones are the MAC lipsticks in the shades Honey Love and Velvet Teddy. These are both matte finishes. So I just want to show you guys the colors. That one is Honey Love, and that's the progress that I've made on that one, which I just showed these in my last video. I was wearing Velvet Teddy in that video. So this one is Velvet Teddy. And as you guys can see, Velvet Teddy is pretty well loved. So that's my all-time favorite nude lipstick. And I was wearing that in my products I've used up in 2017. And then Honey Love I wore in another video, I'm pretty sure. I wore this recently as well, so I love both of these. I think I wore this out to like the supermarket or something for a little while, so they're just my go-to new lipsticks when I just need to throw something on, so I'm going to continue to work on those. And then the other one is the NARS Audacious Lipstick in the shade Raquel. As you guys can see, I've used this a shit ton. I need to use it more often though, so hopefully I can use it more now since I decluttered a bunch of lipsticks, and it's one of my favorite lipsticks. So that one is Raquel right there. It's such a beautiful color. I love that one. And then the other two are the ColourPop Lippy Sticks in the shades Oh Snap and Aquarius. I did just show these to you guys in my last video. I was wearing Aquarius in my 2017 Best in Beauty for face products. So that one is Oh Snap, but that one really doesn't have too much progress. I haven't worn Oh Snap in a long time, so this is going to be my next lipstick that I just wear as my go-to lipstick, and this one is Aquarius, well, just for something to throw on. And Aquarius I've made a shit ton of progress in, so maybe I will use this up this year. Like, look how much I've used of this. I really don't know how I did this. I don't know how Oh Snap is not used up as much as Aquarius, so, because I've had Oh Snap longer, but somehow I've made a shit ton of progress on this, so that's really good. And then the last one is the NARS Lip Crayon Satin Lip Pencil in the shade Rakujin. So Christine Olsen, thank you again. She did tell me you can sharpen this. I did know that already, but I don't know if I'm going to sharpen it again, because then that means there's like a shit ton of product in this, so we'll see what happens, and we'll see if my sharpener actually fits this. And yeah, that's it, you guys. So I think that's a really good amount of products. I can't wait to update you guys. I love doing these types of videos because I really like to see like what I actually use the most. I have so much makeup, so I'm going to go on a no-buy very soon after I get my Christmas makeup, when my boyfriend gets me my gift card for Sephora, because I really don't need anything. I just really want to enjoy everything in my collection. I have so much makeup that, like, what else do I need after this? The only things I'm going to be buying are skincare and, like, mascaras and eyeliners when, like, my mascaras run out, or if I just need to replace anything that runs out. And that's it. So, yeah, that's it, you guys. So, please like and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media. I think you guys have memorized it by now, and I never end up linking it in the description box below. I'm wearing my Lucky sweater today. This is one of the new sweaters that I got. I really like it. It's like a cardigan. Let me not get makeup on it. I hope I didn't just get makeup on it. I don't think I did, but anyway, I really like it. So this is the first time I'm wearing it. I did work today, and it was so dead. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye, guys.